Jacquie.
Yes, Jason.
Welcome to the Trash or Cash podcast.
Thank you.
Trash or cash, trash or cash. Is the idea trash or is cash? Let us know. Yes, maybe so, or for sure, it's a no. Should we stop while we ahead and turn around, or it's a go? Trash or is cash? Go on ahead, submit your vote. Hey, yo, check dig. You're now tuned in to Trash or Cash podcast, the show where the host will present a new idea and debate whether it's trash or cash. But the final decision is solely up to you, the audience.
Jacquie.
Yes, Jason.
Welcome to the Trash or Cash podcast.
Thank you.
So you did get to see some of these before. You're like brand new, never seen one before. Because I don't know. I always ask
No,
people.
I was watching the reels. I usually watch the every time you post the reels, I'll watch them.
All right. So you got the abbreviated. You get the little doses, the money shots. That's good.
The quick recaps.
There you go. The video cliff notes.
Yes,
I don't
the
know.
video
Do people even read anymore? They don't even know what cliff notes is or anything. I don't
Probably
even
not.
know. Podcast for dummies, maybe.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for you or for anybody else who doesn't get what we're doing here, the Trash or Cash podcast, the whole purpose of it is for entrepreneurs in Tampa. And we'll expand past that at some point. But for right now, it's just like coming to my house. You gotta come here. It's the experience. You get to feel the paddles or get to play this game. You get to hang out with Roscoe, take pictures. Like it's the vibe and everything. So I'm gonna keep it that way for now. But two Tampa entrepreneurs getting together, and they have each one of them has a business of some sort, and they also talk about a business that they thought might work. They wanted to hear second opinion on. They believe in, they're going to work on it now. Everybody comes in here with different things. And the beautiful thing is that sometimes things get created right here. That's kind of the most exciting part. So, I'm in the trash business. I talk trash for a living. That's what we're doing now. And I also have the Trashmitter app, which I created out of a frustration of the existing waste management system that we all have to deal with now, where in some cases is not even existent. Like once a week is good in a municipal city, but let's say there's urban places that you got to get private service. But it was just a frustration, something that pissed me off, that got to the point where I was like, I'm gonna answer this solution, and it blossomed into something bigger. And that's the lane that I chose. Mm-hmm. And for you, because we know each other a little bit right now, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, and then tell us what are all the, because you got like 12 hustles. not even hustles. There's all these things you want to do, and some of them you're running. That's how we met. You're part of our short-term rental group. You're a property manager. But I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna give you the floor. Introduce yourself, your full name, the name of your company, your main business, and then we can talk about some of these other things, because I'm pretty sure one of them is a trash or cash idea we want to pitch here. So let's hear what you got.
Okay, so my name is Jacquie Cassella. I am a female entrepreneur. I've been one since I was 12 years old. I grew up in a rock and roll household with a recording studio in my house and everything. And when I was 12, my dad opened a music store. And that's how I learned business. So by 16, I had my own contracting business. I was actually teaching piano and voice lessons because I was a former opera singer, or I am a former opera singer.
And you still are, and you're going to be one in about 5 minutes when I test. No. Fun fact, we know Jackie's an opera singer because I put her on the spot when I heard that one time at a meeting, and she
The first time.
Yeah, and I made her sing, and she kicked it. She stopped everybody in the room. They got to appreciate that operatic. I don't know, what would you call that? Like a solo? What was it?
It was a solo performance of an Italian aria by Puccini.
So the lesson here you can learn is, if you're in my vicinity and you say you can do something that's pretty interesting or amazing, you better be ready. Yeah, you better be ready to pull that talent out, and because if you say you could do a split, I'm going to test you right then and there. And I don't care if we're in the middle of a business meeting. It's going to happen, especially if I was running it. So lesson is be proud. No. Don't be scared. Don't be scared of your talent.
Don't be scared.
But be ready to pull it out, because I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, let's see. Because okay. So back to you. Sorry.
That's okay. So, so I did that for 10 years. I ran my dad's music store with him. That's how I learned business and formed my own contracting business. And that's how I worked myself through high school and college. And by the time I was 22, I was making $40 an hour. So, so I went to school for music as well, for vocal performance. And that was that part of my life, so like the first half of my life. And then I developed some more businesses for other people. I had a second life, like a restart, like the Phoenix kind of moment. I got a divorce and I gained a second career as an insurance agent. So I've been doing that since 2015. And I had an agency back in Pennsylvania that I'm dissolving. And I decided to come to Florida a couple years ago, back in 2021, to relocate, to go into the short-term rental industry space. And so I have a full-service property management company for short and mid-term rentals. That's Elevate Stellar Reality, as well as my insurance agency is here and live, finally. It's Cassella Insurance Solutions. And the other things that I'm working on in my spare time is a performing arts society, as well as a ministry.
So if I heard you correctly, you're like a Disney princess who can sing and do business. And I'm going to copyright this story and sell it to Disney because they've been running out of ideas for a while now.
Who has died almost three times. On top of that. So.
Well, that would be the magical part that they need.
So there's the Phoenix
There's
moments.
a resurrection involved. This Disney princess a little older and wiser, and she can still sing her butt off and drop an opera and, just keep, somebody out there will buy this. Damn it, I'll make it happen.
It's a book. It's a movie.
Okay, real quick.
Sure.
Somebody in Tampa listening to this in the short-term rental space, you mentioned insurance. One of the biggest things right now is insuring not just a private residence because they're crazy.
Yes.
But I bring this out because if someone in the group or anybody is hearing this, they can come to you for short-term, mid-term rental insurance, and it's competitive, not getting killed like by proper insurance. I know there's Super Hog. There's like all these other providers, but they're like literally high. Like they're like, I don't know what they are right now. $6,000 a year, $12,000 a year. Like what? You're competitive, or you can get a better deal. Like what's?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I'm still researching a lot of this because there's a lot of issues here in Florida in general.
Extra issues.
The insurance game here is ridiculous, and the problem is that so many carriers have pulled out. There's just not enough going on. So it's like it's a monopoly, right? So there's a monopoly. You got this limited availability of what is going on in the insurance industry, and a lot of times, sometimes some properties are not insurable the way as a normal, like homeowners residence. You got to do it as other things, and dwelling fire policies, which is what we would call a second residence, is a dwelling fire property. But then you got the short-term game. Is all different altogether. And to be honest, it's I've never written a short-term rental policy in the past. Like we usually have written it as a dwelling fire policy, which is a second home. So this whole concept is really, really new. So the only people who really have these types of policies is KIN, K-I-N, and Proper, and everybody else who's writing anything that's around those lines of a short-term, mid-term, whatever property, it's because they're allowing it and there's some type of like endorsements, like riders onto the policy. So I don't know, they're just making it work and making it just because they want the business and they want to overcharge you. So that's really what's happening.
So I dealt with Proper before, and to be honest, and I actually did have a claim and they covered it, but then after that I was done. I mean,
they got rid of you?
No, I got rid of them because I was just like, the hell.
Because they do that too sometimes.
Yeah, no. I figured it was going to be me. And once you make any claim, it's like, okay, there's a clock ticking on when they're going to try to get their money back, and it usually is a 6-month, year from now kind of.
Within the first 2 years, possibly.
Yeah. But
they may not. It's just it depends.
But here's the thing: nobody cares about how it's written as long as they can get whatever it is covered. And for me, there was a water heater that the
Exploded.
hose came off from the top somehow and flooded the basement to the point, talking about 5 feet of water,
Yes.
but it was going to hit the electrical box. So fortunately, I was, fire department, I was able to I knew who to call to come get the place pumped out, because not everybody, sometimes that's it, but they covered, it wasn't a lot in the basement damage wise. It was like the couple of water heaters and like storage stuff I
It's
stored
more
down there.
structural damage.
It wasn't even that. It was because the basement itself. I mean, it was a row home, so it wasn't it wasn't a lot to damage in the structure. It was more like has to materials, Airbnb kind of blankets, like bedding, mattresses, some stuff stored down there. Nothing major, but extra sheetrock. Point I'm trying to make is, I didn't care how good my policy was. I just needed you to cover this. So I had to I got an insurance adjuster just to make sure that they got the right amount, because God forbid. But I feel like there just needs to be a product where somebody could just be like, look, you're insured for $1 million,
Yes.
period. However, and that's it. Like nothing, it doesn't have to be complicated. The insurance people make this all complicated.
No, the problem is that you have a lot of, I'm going to be very blunt, a lot of insurance agents that really don't know what they're doing. They really don't know how to write anything, and they don't take the time to call underwriting and to find out how are we supposed to write this, who are we supposed to write it with, and then they're just writing anything to get paid. They're not writing you what you need.
Exactly.
And that's why I said, like, where I came from, because we're from, you're from Philadelphia. I live in Pennsylvania. I dealt with lots of people who had second homes in this state, second homes in that state, whatever. And they were usually just their vacation homes. I don't remember anyone ever telling me, oh, this is a short-term rental or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the time, like, nobody was thinking about that anyway. So now, and I would write that as a dwelling fire policy. Okay, that's dwelling fire. It's not their primary residence, it's a second residence. But that's the issue now. So now we don't just have a problem with carriers here. Like, there's not enough carriers in Florida. There's not the right product. So there is no product that's really going to help us write short-term rentals, short and midterm rentals in this space properly.
So one of the things I learned in real estate transactions, especially when dealing with title companies, because they deal with underwriting, is what are the phrases or the right way to describe what I want that is in compliance with what you can actually do? For example, they would be like, well, we don't do assignments of contract, but they might do an ovation or something else. So here in Florida, just from your limited experience right now, if someone was like, hey, I need this I need this insurance for my short-term rental, what do you need to hear? What are the magic words you need to hear so that I have the right kind of coverage where I know I'm protected and I'm not overspending on something that I don't need? Like, is there like you said second home, that'd probably be one. Like that I get, because like you said, people are used to hearing second home.
Yeah.
It gets
Not that we're using it as
it gets
Airbnb.
Yeah, I'm saying, but you can get like instead of a 20% down loan, typical loan,
Yes.
you can get like with second home. Sometimes they do the 10% programs or stuff like that, right? So that's kind of how we got our home here, me and my wife, before we moved here. It was our second home, and then it became our first home.
Right.
But we had to do it that way. The magic phrase might be second home. Is there any other kind of like, don't say this, say that? Gems you might be for the right person, like
if we have multiple properties, right, and let's say they're single family home structures, there are investment properties, right? So there's nothing I mean, if you were talking to me and you came to me and say, Jackie, I need to get my get some properties insured, and I would say, oh, excuse me, and I would say, okay, so what is this? Like, what are we using this home for? Is this your primary residence? You would tell me yes or no. I'd be like, no, it's these are all, secondary residence. So they're investment properties.
But a landlord's policy is not enough.
And that's what we call a dwelling fire policy. It's
Got it.
landlord's policy. That's what we used to call it up north. Yep.
So what do they call it here?
Nothing. They call it nothing. That's what I'm saying. There is not a product really. Like, if someone came to me right now and said, or you said, I have this property, I'm wondering, if you can help me, with the insurance of that. I would literally call my underwriters and be like, okay, so can I write this as a dwelling fire or landlord's property policy, and can we put this type of like endorsement on it and things like that? The problem is that there isn't a lot of options when it comes to product, like auto, home, umbrella. Okay, and then under home you have renters, you have dwelling fire, you have, whatever. Then you have business. I mean, technically, when we're doing investment properties, they're businesses, right? Because we have to get LLCs for them. So there's that whole thing too. So to me, what we really need is a combination of something that is on the personal lines, but also that's more on the commercial lines. So we need to create a product for property that would be able to operate as a business, as investment properties.
All right, and where are we on that right now, Ms. Jackie?
I would say we're at -20. I was gonna
All
say
right, we're
50.
Trash or Cash podcast where we don't solve problems. We just poke our finger into them and make it a little worse. All right, we're not gonna solve that problem. We need it immediately, but part of I guess solving problems is defining them in ways that people can understand. And I think you did a great job of kind of laying that out, because as I've discovered through all of this is we're all trying to say the same things, except every regionally or in different worlds, they translate it into different words. It's almost like
And
a different
different
language.
states says
Yeah.
different things,
And that's the problem in the, one of the problems I have with insurance, even though I actually at one point did have my, I was
Insurance
able to write policies, but I wrote my own. And then
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
know.
I'm not doing illustrations anymore. This continuing education is such a pain in the butt. I'm not doing this anymore. Right? Like,
Yes.
but I,
Yeah.
and you know what I took away from all of that I went through
What?
was these people are more concerned about if you can figure out a way to use insurance policies to what do you call it, launder money than anything else. It's like they don't care a damn thing about a single person that's coming through here. We're more concerned if you're going to go in here, buy a policy for $1 million, take it back out and launder money. It's like, bro, how many people are really doing just that? I mean,
Yeah.
yes, it could happen.
Well, yeah,
but that's
there
like
sure
saying I
been
can go
people
out there
who've
and
done
drive a car and run down a bunch of people. So
Yeah.
we shouldn't make any more cars.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like just let people live, catch them, and be done. Like that's your
Well,
job.
you can check that stuff now when you go and write like a life insurance policy. Like they're doing a little different glimpses on you that they can see your financial situation, like what you've been doing or not doing. But the insurance issue here, just to wrap that up, is once we get more carriers back in Florida and there's not so much of a monopoly going on, then it's going to open up more doors for having the products that we need here.
So even though this is not that segment, I'm going to call insurance companies trash. In Florida right now, if you're an insurance
Yes.
company, Aetna, Allstate, all you bastards, this is you right now. You need to talk to this girl because she got her finger on the pulse. So do I. And I can help you write something that can actually help people instead of pad your pockets, you greedy bastards. Anyway, okay, so all right, so we're going to get into something that people care about more, which is you.
Okay.
There's 3 questions that I like to ask all my
Sure.
guests, and I'm pretty sure you'll do amazing at this.
Okay.
Of all the things you mentioned,
Yes.
what are you most proud of?
I am, wow. Well, I am most proud of all that I've accomplished by the age of 21. Being an entrepreneur and a businesswoman, creating my own business, learning business alongside of my dad, traveling to different countries, touring, know different languages, educated. That was a very big part of who I am. And it created my foundation to what I'm doing now that I can do, that I know I can do.
Dad sounds like a cool dude. He's still around?
Yes.
All right, remember me to get find out his size of T-shirt so you can send him one.
Okay, thank
All right.
you.
He could rock Roscoe when he goes to the gym or goes to sleep or
Yeah.
when he's getting busy. If he's still doing that, just turn the shirt around. Roscoe's still young; he don't need to be seeing all that.
Oh.
What are you most excited about right now? Something maybe you're working on.
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited about my real estate property management company. It took off really quickly here. It took about 3 months to establish it, build a foundation, and in my hibernation period, I was still in a hibernation period, and in month 3, it actually completely took off like that. So we've been pretty much rocking for the last year and a half, almost 2 years. It's going on, it'll be 2 years in 2024, and I probably have already serviced over 30 properties, And
Is that how many you're managing right now? About 30?
no, I'm not. That's not what I'm currently managing. I've actually narrowed my scope to who I want to work with and who I don't want to work with.
Who does that sound like? I mean, like
Well, I want to work
top
with.
3 qualities of the person you want to work with.
My first thing is I want to work with clients who want full service property management. So everything from possibly acquiring the property all the way to turning it. So that's everything in between. So we can do staging and design, landscaping, obviously laundry, things like that.
More like a full concierge service.
Absolutely. And I'm doing on-site services, emergency services, co-hosting, like I'm doing all of it. So it's someone who wants all of my help. So to be honest, though, the ideal client who falls in that are out of state and out of country people. And I have almost the majority of my clients are that.
No, as a person who tried to manage from afar for a minute,
It's hard.
It blows.
Yeah, it's hard. A lot of the owners I just acquired a property literally like yesterday, and I sent him I went to his property. It was in Riverview, and he's been having a local handyman help him out, and help him do that property there. And he did a terrible job. Like the paint job was terrible. Like I sent him pictures of it, and it was like he literally said, I almost cried.
So you double checking like contractor work too?
Yeah, well, my dad and my whole family were masons. I
mean, if you're from the Northeast, you might as well. Yeah, I mean,
my
that's
grandfather
like
was a head foreman of the construction union up in New York. We built New York, so I was always like my dad's professional assistant. Like his right hand, Jackie, come hold up this wall, like stuff like that. So, and I was the eldest, so I just had to do it. But so I tend, even though I may not know exactly how to fix something, I know when something's wrong and I know it needs to be fixed. So, I can't necessarily do the work myself. I can tinker a little bit, but not like.
But you can find the right person to fix it the right way.
Oh yeah, I have people on retainer.
Gotcha. That's perfect.
Yeah.
What is your vision for the future as far as like 10 years from now? Are you still doing property management, or is there a bigger game behind this where you want to be?
I came here, I relocated to do the short-term rental space myself to get my own properties. When I exhausted my funds, after I sold my house, I exhausted all those funds getting here. Mm-hmm. So I had to find another way to do this business, which is how I developed the full service property management company that I have. So now I'm looking to partner with investors, partner with private money lenders, things like, people who have the resources that I need to get my own properties. Or I also have capital possibilities I can get as well. But trying to see if I want to partner with people, or obviously I always want to work with investors. So 10 years from now is looking like, to be honest, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. We're going to still do full service property management. Like this is what I'm going to do. My insurance agency, this is what I'm going to do. I just hope to be a lot more comfortable than I am right now, where I can have a team of like 20 to 30 people who are, helping me do the day-to-day, operations and stuff. And, I'm just a phone call away, or if I need to just go out and survey properties and assess them, because I do consultations and I give an assessment of what needs to be done or what's wrong with it or whatever, what we can make, all these things. And I focus on that, do you know what I mean? Where the team's focusing on the daily stuff that needs to be done. I teach them how to stage. I teach them how to, do that process. I teach them how to do light landscaping. I teach them everything that needs to be done on a daily basis. And then I'm just kind of orchestrating and making sure everybody's doing what they need to do on that side.
Well, okay. It sounds like you do a lot of things. However,
Yes.
Well, what technologies do you leverage for yourself to make that possible? And I'm asking this question because I already know what things I can use.
Yeah.
But you might. I don't know who's gonna watch this.
That's okay.
Who? There's somebody out there who you might inspire.
Yeah.
Who has also been traveling. Like literally, today it's been all about people from Pennsylvania. There's only been one person in this room so far that has not been from Pennsylvania. So there's all these kind of synergies that are happening.
Yeah.
So I'm fully convinced that somebody in a situation like yours, coming from the Northeast to Tampa, catching some bad breaks or whatever.
Oh yeah,
trying
I had
to
a
rebuild.
lot of bad breaks.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I was homeless for a week.
look at that.
Yeah.
And you built. I mean, but that's the thing. You know, scrappy wits. This show is not about. For me anyway, it's not about all these amazing wins and you're on this level of success.
Yeah.
It's also about, because we have people in here that are like still in the middle of bankruptcy,
Yeah.
but building their way back out. So that in and of itself, being able to pinpoint where people are and what they're doing to build themselves out, there might be a key thing in there. And one of them for me has always been technology. Like, what apps can I use to make this easier? I'll give you an example. Quickie little weird.
Yeah.
I like to take things that are, and maybe you've done this before.
Yeah.
There's an intended purpose for something, and then you use it for something else.
Yeah,
For example,
reinventing.
like Uber.
Yeah.
Right. People like take Uber, but I've used Uber to take keys to somebody.
Yeah.
Instead of me running, like, to say you got locked out, right?
Yep,
Stuff
yep,
like
yep,
that.
yep, yep.
Or spy on contractors.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
hey,
that's interesting.
I don't have time to run the St. Pete's or that, whatever.
Yes,
I'm going to
that's
pay an
actually really
Uber
good.
to go and take a couple pictures for
Yeah.
me and send them back, and
Yeah.
you just got paid for the trip.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
That's very good, actually.
But
I
I'm
like
saying,
this.
thinking of technology as in different ways
Yeah, yeah.
that maybe other people aren't
Thinking about
to
Yeah.
save
Outside
you
the
time
box.
and energy because you're one person.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine what it's like to teach somebody landscaping and all these other things and still try to be making money while you're trying to show these people how to do it right.
Yeah.
So are there maybe one or two things you kind of rely on to duplicate yourself a little bit better while you're rebuilding?
Yeah, it's awesome that we have technology has changed so much of our space compared to 20 years ago. You know, like we didn't have Google, we didn't have, these basic things that, we have now. So, Googling things for research is, very key for me in my business, because if I don't necessarily know how to, I know how to do a lot. So if I don't know, necessarily know how to do something or something that, I want more information about, I'll Google it. Obviously, YouTube is really helpful with those things too, especially if you're not handy, right? So
You haven't gotten into the ChatGPT world yet, have you? It's almost like Google. Well, it's better than Google. It's definitely a way to reduce the time, the creative effort it takes to find the right information
Yeah.
instead of like 12 pages of Google.
Yeah.
You get there a lot quicker. But
I use Siri a lot. I know.
I mean,
I'll be like, da, 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 da.
Whatever
and then
works.
she comes back, and
Yeah.
8 times out of 10, she's coming back with something. So
listen, that's the thing about technology. Who cares if you don't use it, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, hey, these great things are out there. Like, well, I don't want to learn a bunch of things. I want to learn like one thing I can use now and then build on top of that.
Yeah.
Because if not, you get you consume so much you can't do it. You get fat.
Right.
Like you
Yeah.
just get bloated. Like,
Yeah.
information. I mean, that should
Overload.
be
It's information
overload. But I
Yeah.
think there's information bloat. In other
Yeah.
words, you're just like,
there's too much information.
like when you eat too much food
Yeah.
and you get the itis and you just don't want to do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Well, or Sundays in my family. But I know I had something that my stepson was working on, and he said, well, let's try AI. So I was like, okay, like I don't know anything about this. I said, you go ahead and do it. I said, I need this. So we tried to get AI to generate lists for us for certain topics and stuff.
Fortunately for me, I have a lot of kids who
I know.
are always telling me like we should do this, and I'm like, yeah, you should go ahead. Because
I
if
tell
you-
them all the time.
If you come back with something useful to me, good job. I'm
Yeah.
gonna pay you.
Exactly. I said
if
that
you
to
don't,
him.
if you don't, it's up to you to come and sell me, sell or
Yeah.
be sold, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
just come in and like,
absolutely.
all right, if that's so great, go show me what it does.
Yeah.
And then that's your job from now on.
Yeah, exactly.
This is one of my secrets. That's why I'm not good at anything in my house anymore, because if not, I'm gonna get asked to do it. So my secret is to be really bad at things at house, even though I know how to do them. I want to do them bad on purpose so I don't get asked to do them again.
Right.
And people look at me and like, I know I've gotten side eyes from people in my house and in my own family, like, damn, you're kind of useless. And I'm like, yeah, I'm useless. Keep it that way. Because then you don't ask me for nothing.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it's just you're asking me to do other things that I just don't have time for.
Yeah. I'm not gonna like what did it say? We were talking about it before. I'm not gonna do some $5-10 an hour job because
Yeah.
you want me to when I'm over here trying to like save my energy for the $500 $1,000 an hour job.
that's
I'm
true.
waiting for that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna swoop in on that. The
Yes.
eagle. I'm gonna come pick up the right fish.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna keep these
Yeah.
seagulls coming around.
Well, you have to work smarter, not harder.
Yeah. Well, that.
You know.
All right.
So
Let's get into
chasing that.
Let's get into the fun stuff. The trash or cash. So these paddles.
Okay.
You know what they tell me if you
Trash.
look at. There you go. Look.
Trash,
Self-explanatory.
cash. Yes.
Self-explanatory.
Cash.
One has cash. One has trash on it.
I love
and you're gonna hear. I'm gonna hear your idea and do one of these. You're gonna do the same, and you're gonna
Okay.
explain why. And that's the game portion and the fun part of what we're doing today. So,
Okay.
you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
All right. So my idea is, in the midst of my relocation and my transition period, I was homeless. And while I was homeless for a week, I was living in hotels, or I lived in a hotel. And next to me were all these families or single mothers, like living out of the hotel that the state was paying for and whatever. And it just sort of like broke my heart. So once I got to be more integrated in the area that I was looking at developing, I started to see a real need for affordable housing, and specifically for the local community and the workforce community. So my concept is to create affordable housing that is geared for that, for, like I said, for families, single mothers, even, mother, father, children who are in the workforce, who are locals. And instead of driving those people out of the developing areas, like the high developing areas that everybody wants to swoop in on, we're helping the locals to stay there by creating affordable multiplex housing, or like duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, and utilizing the city, state, and federal government, maybe programs that'll help us do that, so that I can create rent control, like in New York.
Well, that's a hot topic, rent control. So, workforce housing is where it's at.
Yeah.
Period. And no matter how you slice or dice it, it's because that, to me, first of all, I'm gonna be in the middle with this, and you know why? It's because this is not fully formed yet, but
Yeah,
I told you I'm gonna explain why.
That's okay.
Affordable housing is almost like a cuss word now, because everybody has, well, not a cuss word, but like everybody has this idea
Sour
of it.
taste, probably, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like the definition is so broad. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you're beautiful. How? Why? How do you define that? What
Yeah.
if you're like into
Well, it's subjective.
What if you're into people with big foreheads and I don't know that? Like, I don't really know what that means, right?
Yeah.
Right? So it's
Yeah.
subjective. So affordable is really like, what can you actually afford? Not what you want, because I think
Yes.
we got sold on the American dream. And if you go anything into, like, that was actually a marketing campaign
For
by
years,
banks
decades.
and people. And they were just like, oh, we're going to get people into home ownership. It's a
Yeah.
big thing. Now everybody's like, I want a white picket fence, 3-bedroom, 2 kids, dog, garage. That's the
Yeah.
dream. Well, guess what? Not everybody can afford that dream, especially now. Why? Insurance. Not even the house.
Inflation,
Construction, insurance,
all of it.
location, a million different reasons. Also,
minimum wage.
also, but for the simple fact that they cannot keep it up.
No.
In Philadelphia, we have areas, and people cry about gentrification all the time, right? You'll go in a place like West Philadelphia, big 3-story brownstones. Old lady lives in them. Can't keep it up, falling apart, but that's all theirs. But you can't keep it up. So what is it doing? It's dragging the houses
Yeah.
next door down. It's falling apart. You can't handle it.
Yeah.
Sure, you got a big old nice house. Well, not nice anymore.
Yeah.
What's happening is nothing. Nothing you need. You would probably be better off in a small 1-bedroom apartment, no stairs, little bit of room,
yeah.
right? So
Yeah,
it's
first floor.
it's an amenity thing. So it's a mindset thing. So first of all, like the mindset about that. Second of all, the government thing. I hate relying on the government. I'm relying on them. Just
Yeah.
partnering with them is good.
Yeah,
And-
funding.
Well,
See,
yeah,
there's funding of some sort.
funding with, I don't want to say less oversight, but
Right.
with less, what's the word? The rails are too tight,
Yeah.
right? For example, like workforce housing has to have rails, like
Well, I was
you
guidelines.
guidelines.
It
Yes.
has to have guidelines. Like when I said that with the workforce and an affordable, I'm thinking people are making under 50,000.
Got it.
That's
So you're the second person in here today, believe it or not, that we were talking about this. And I think that people have to be rebuilt, meaning
your mindset.
well, yeah. So for you, like say your subset, your people you care the most about are single mothers with children.
Yes.
So you're not just building housing; you need to build a specific community, a way station, not permanent living situation. Number one. Why? Because the world has changed, and we don't need as much room because we're just not, it's just not effective. It's like more space to heat or cool.
Yeah.
More insurance, more everything. More is just more. It's not better.
More square footage
Yes.
is more cost.
So we need to learn to live with less and not more, and get out of this consumer mentality. Produce more, and the
Well,
production.
that's an American mentality because in Europe it's completely different.
I know, and that's where the things need to, like, in other words, you said it. Sometimes
They walk,
the
we
old ways
drive.
are the best. The old ways are the best ways.
Yeah.
Co-living, which was a big American no-no. Like, we're trying to kick your kids out at 18.
Yeah.
And I'm in Latino culture and Italian culture, whatever. Who cares if grandma lives? That's great. She's cooking. She's
Making
doing
a
what she
basement
wants.
apartment.
Yeah. So more co-living.
Yeah.
And I think, regulations have to be changed for that. Like, let's go back to homesteads with full families. Let's go back to co-living. Let's shrink things and make and eliminate the things that cost the money. A car. So to reinforce what you're, to craft a little bit better
Yes.
what you were talking about is creating a communities around these things where they are the workforce and in the communities that they're around. And it touches hot buttons because it starts to sound like slavery, really.
Yeah.
Starts to, but you got to have the right heads around it. It's not slavery. It's like, hey, you have the freedom to choose this. Here are your options. You have everything you need right here, not everything you want.
Yes.
You want ownership? We can take you through that. Everything you need. And if you never get past this point, you should be good. You should be good with that. Now, if you choose to excel, you want to step up to home ownership, you get better opportunities, or opportunities are developed specifically for you because you're holding up your end of the deal. You're giving back, however it is. Maybe, single mothers, hey, rather than like what's your contribution? Well, I'll watch everybody's kids, or I'll be a sitter, and there's things for that. I don't know, just it just needs to
Different
be.
things in the
It
community
needs to
that can
start to
help each other.
self-sustain and be a little bit more better co-living.
Yeah.
And if that means that, like, hey, you move whole families into areas and make that the thing, and they all kind of coordinate, and you sex, I don't know what that looks like yet, but it's just a bigger problem than just that, or just really specifically staying in a niche, sticking with that and following that through instead of like changing every 5 years, changing the rules or
No, yeah.
whatever. So
You have to stick with something that's going to be, pretty much a problem forever.
it's cash because it's a problem I want to work on. In fact, I'm part of my investing strategy these days is working on a version of it.
Yeah.
But we need to like be a little bit more clear on how those people work their way out. And to me, it does not involve owning a thing. It involves use of a thing.
And it's not, and my concept of this, of what I'm talking about, is not geared towards low income. It's geared towards working people. Like to me, that's different. Low income is different than working. I'm going to say working class.
Yeah.
But and working class meaning people who are working, people who are in school, people who are doing everything that they can to get themselves out of any and every situation that they're in. It could be a hood, could be in their parents' house, who cares? But they're doing anything and everything. They're being diligent. So it's not, my program or my idea is not for low income people who are on assistance, with the government. They're living on assistance. My concept is for working class people.
Yeah, I just think that whatever's built needs to have impartial oversight.
Yeah.
And what I mean by impartial is even the politicians aren't involved. Like they can't be. Like it's like, hey, almost like neutral territory. Like literally Washington, D.C., wherever it is, it's its own thing, and you can't, and the rules are different.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
It really
the
is.
rules are different here.
District of
This is the
Columbia,
Vatican.
yep.
This is what was that? Peter Griffin, Petertopia or something. It's like it's got to be like that because
Switzerland.
all these different competing interests just mess
Yeah.
all these things up all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be like honed.
Something.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna give you
Your
my
idea.
version of that.
Okay, go.
Because I wrote it down, what I see it looking like, and
Yeah.
maybe this will give you some more insight.
Okay.
Because you're creative, and I think a lot of what you've talked about, we need that in the world. It's just gotta, the right people to put it together. So
Yeah, you need the right people.
this was a dream of mine. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but
Okay.
there's big cigar
Me too.
factories in Tampa, and actually I could tell you the specific address that I had this in mind for. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but this is how I would set it up, and it's a version of what you're talking about.
Okay.
So a building as a complete ecosystem. It's almost its own world.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Like a community, commune.
it's let's say it's a 5-6 story building.
Okay.
From the top to the bottom, everything has a purpose, and it becomes a center for community. And how does it do that? So let's start with the roof. A garden roof, green roof,
I knew you were
right?
gonna say it. Yep.
With some solar.
Yep.
Starts to with the
Feed the
feed the
building.
building. There
Yep,
you go.
feed the building.
Perfect. Then top 2 floors, workforce housing,
Okay.
not houses, not apartments,
Yeah.
co-living spaces.
Okay.
Central living rooms, kitchens, maybe private
Yeah.
bathrooms or semi-private bathrooms, Jack and Jill, whatever.
Yep.
Affordable, but under specific rules. For example, maybe one whole floor is singles, another
Yeah.
floor or male, female,
Yeah.
no guests, or one maybe
Yeah.
a child. I don't know, but to keep it
Something
simple,
like
let's
that,
say
yeah.
everybody has to be single.
Yeah.
No visitors, nothing. It's like a dorm.
Yeah, like a
with,
dorm.
with more rules because
More
there's
rules,
a
yeah.
purpose, right?
Yeah.
First floor would be mixed use space, almost like coming into a hotel where there's a central area,
Okay.
but then around a central hub, around all the walls are these little booths.
Okay.
Think of almost like a mall.
Yeah, I was gonna
And
say
in the
like
center
boutiques or
is a meeting space where if you want to have meetings and stuff like that.
Okay.
But on a daily basis, and it's a collab space like the one we're in.
Right.
So you got meetings, but every entrepreneur idea gets tested out, and you can have these little booths, and it becomes a place where people can come through, walk, and kind of like, oh, I got a clothing brand. I got this, I got that. So it becomes a lab
Yeah.
for developing people's ideas.
In their businesses.
Yeah. So
Potentially.
you could live upstairs and you're an entrepreneur, and maybe you come downstairs and hustle your
table.
shop. A space for them people to market, and they're meant to work with each other because, any building, like, hey, you do printing, I do clothes. Let's
Yeah.
hire each other. So it starts to become self-sustaining, and then maybe let's say the back of this place,
Okay.
a restaurant or cooking school where they're teaching people how to
I was gonna
make
say kitchen.
food, a kitchen.
Yeah.
But then your test subjects are the other people in the building, or you're feeding the other people, something like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And an axe throwing, something that could stay open at night when the daytime stuff shuts down, right?
Yes.
And then the basement is a hydroponic sort of setup where everything from upstairs drains down there and feeds plants, and maybe it becomes the cornerstone of a farmer's market that happens on the weekends in the parking lot, where the people inside go like, I need help, or sell your stuff out here.
Yeah.
It becomes a weekend flea market. And that's the cycle of that building. So the people that are in there get a stake in what happens if they care to, or they can just move it along. But the
Yes.
point is, they can work right downstairs if they choose to develop their ideas. Let's say, they're laptop warrior or whatever. They need some place to live while they figure out their stuff, or they're traveling. They can come in, feed in, to connect in. There's an event space, and maybe you can have church on Sunday, like right there. Why not? Right?
Yeah, why not?
But farmers market and flea market where people learn how to do entrepreneurship right in the parking lot. And this needs to be somewhere where they're already gentrifying, because all those apartment buildings and people walking their 1-year-old in an expensive stroller got a place to go and check in and do a little shopping and all that.
they could
So
come
now
in.
you created this whole economy inside of one building.
Yeah.
Like for me, like that would be my dream of a building that supports. It's like literally it's the heart of a community, because everything's right there. Like you literally don't have to go anywhere. It's like right there.
Yeah.
You make it. It's whatever you make it too. So that to me, that's a more fleshed out version of what you're talking about. Obviously takes a lot of money.
Well, yeah, and it's also
and the right visionaries.
I mean, it's also more of like it's like you're building a community or a commune space, and it sounds like it'd be great for people who are young or just people who are trying to find and build their purpose.
The opposite of retirement home, an
Right.
inspirement home. There you go.
Yeah, an experiment. I mean, and it kind of reminds me of something I've seen in a movie, or felt like I've seen in a movie, or in another country, because I lived in other countries. So it kind of makes me like have this kind of feeling of definitely a Euro style situation.
Well, they do a version of this, and I forget what they're called in Japan, where they'll have a downstairs. It's like exactly what I talked about:
Yeah.
restaurant, arcade, coffee shop,
Yeah.
and then the people, all the kids, like they live upstairs in like these little tiny like bunk bed pod kind of things.
Yeah.
I forget what they call them, something shops.
Yeah.
They're big in like
Yeah.
either Japan or Korea. I forget which one I
can
heard
see
of
them,
about
actually,
it on
yeah.
a smaller scale. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Without the farming
Yeah,
part.
yeah.
But it's like they can hang out, live downstairs, and then go to sleep upstairs, and it becomes its own
Yeah.
organism
Yeah.
and self-sustaining.
It's really cool.
So it's cash.
Definitely cash.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of cash.
I
but-
mean, yeah, and right, and just like with my idea too, it's it's going to take more ideas or funding and partnerships or it's going to take something to change the world. It's going to take more people. It's going to take collaboration. It's going to take ideas and wisdom and knowledge. Can't just do it on your own.
So we're about to wrap this up, but before we do,
Okay.
tell us about the school.
Oh, the Performing Arts Society.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
is this okay? So is this still an idea? Are you actually you got the place, you got everything going?
I actually was, right. So I went to another networking event in St. Petersburg. It was at the City Theater. They would hold it every Friday at the City Theater. So my first meeting, I went in there. They were doing construction, whatever. And I met this lady who's a part of the team there. And we started talking, and I told her I was an opera singer, like I told you. And she's just like, oh, my God, we need you. So I was like, okay. I was like, need me for what? Like,
For the door alarm. Jeez, every time somebody rings the doorbell, I want you to sing. That would be a pretty cool gig, right?
yeah, well, it's kind of like singing Telegram. But so anyway, so I was, so we started talking. So she basically opened up her the avenue to utilize the St. Petersburg City Theater. So that's something that I'm helping to develop, the little theater in the front, that I would use that space for the Performing Arts Society.
So you have help.
Kind of. I mean, I'm kind of still in the process of solidifying that venue, and then as well as there's a couple other venues. Like I'm going to be creating venues all over the city of St. Petersburg for semi-professional, professional performers.
Random acts of music.
Of anything. Can be like somebody could say, oh, I want to have comedians here on Wednesday. I want to have open mic. Or comedians or spoken word or, and I find all of these performers who do these things, jazz, R&B, whatever it is that they're looking for. And they'll book that with me, be like, I want this every Friday night. I want this every Wednesday night, whatever, all throughout the city. I mean, including in the City Theater, and then we create these venues for space for them to perform on a regular weekly basis, and then the central location would be City Theater.
You know what would be cool to kind of play with is the idea of pop-ups.
Oh yeah, somebody was talking about that.
But here's my twist on it. You said comedy or performance.
Yeah.
So if there was a way
Any
to
kind of performing arts.
No, I got it.
Yeah.
I mean anything.
Yeah.
I want to see an acrobat. Okay, great, but I don't have one. Or, I'll
Right.
find you one. Find 100 more people to say the same thing, and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, that's true.
A way to take it and say, okay, you want to do a comedy show? It's almost like bars used to do. So if you sell X amount of tickets, that'll happen.
Yeah.
Even if that's what it takes. So
Yep.
almost making the people like vote with their dollars.
Yeah.
If you want to see a comedian on Wednesday night, we're gonna escrow this.
Yeah.
$5 a head or whatever.
Yeah.
When we reach 500 people, it goes on. If we don't, you get your money back. Something like that. Where
that's
it's
a
like
good idea.
it's on or it's off.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
let's let's not play around with it.
Yeah.
Because something might develop from that, and what
Yeah.
might develop is the people the events that actually happen
Yeah.
and keep happening religiously
Yeah.
are the ones you should focus on because they're speaking with their
Absolutely.
dollars.
Yeah.
So maybe play around with that idea and just kind of like, hey, we're gonna commit to doing something every Wednesday.
Yeah.
Here's your choices. Choose one of these three because whatever schedules.
Yeah.
These people are ready to go when
Yeah.
you are. When we hit 100 people, that gave us $5 each, this will go on, or $10 each.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then even just never do it until you reach that point.
Yeah.
Why? Because it saves you a lot of energy.
That's true.
Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And people are telling you what they're willing to pay for.
That's true. You can have like
and
2 or 3
And
ideas.
if the person who's the performer is that serious, you say, look, do whatever you want. You sell all these tickets, you can go on.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Like you do the work. I'm not a promoter. You should be the anti-promoter.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I want to see if you can do it.
Yeah.
And then you put them to work and then see, let the market.
Let them have a hand in
Let
it.
the market tell you what they want to see, because at the end of the day, we all want these beautiful things in the world, but we might be the only one. And if we're the only one, it's like, it's nice, but it's like, how many of these can I do before I go broke or die, right? Like, it's like, what do I have energy for? So why not let them tell me, hey, this is a good idea. We're going to now comedies, hey, 9 out of 10 comedy shows happen. Yeah. All right, now let's make it regular. Now we become that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Try that. I don't know. Maybe that becomes a thing.
Maybe.
And you can always just sing, and you can sing opera jokes. Like you could do jokes in opera. That's the thing.
Yes.
That should be your like Instagram.
What?
You should tell, how like my thing was like telling dad jokes, like, but you should sing jokes in opera just to see what happens and be the opera jokes and just whatever stupid silly joke you want to do, but sing it. And that's your thing.
Yeah. I'll have to try that.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Damn, I think that was pretty good, but I'm probably wrong. I might be wrong.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting concept that I don't think anyone's doing. So
nobody's doing it, but there might be a reason, and the reason might be because it sucks.
Or nobody tried it.
Nobody tried it. Well,
chances are.
How about this? You're gonna try it. Like, give me 3. Three jokes in opera now.
Oh no, I don't even know jokes like that.
I know, you have to prepare. I wouldn't do that to you right now. All right. Well, how'd you like it? Have fun?
Yeah, it was fun.
Well, thank you for.
I liked it.
Thank you for playing along at this episode of Trash or Cash, where we get nothing done at the end of the day. Because no, I'm kidding. So Jacquie Cassella, right?
Yes.
I said it right. Good. How would somebody who wanted to connect with you, either to get you to do random acts of opera or plug into you with St. Petersburg or your property management? Let's say they're from New York and they're like, oh, New York girl, maybe somebody I can trust.
Yes.
How can they reach out to you? Is there what's your favorite method of people getting in contact with you where they could talk to you about whatever it is they want to talk to you about?
Apparently they could Google me. They can easily find me if they put my name in there.
But hold on, they got to spell it right. So isn't it Jacquie?
Yeah, Jacquie.
There you go.
And then Cassella, Cassella. You'll find me everywhere, and then I'm working on my SEO, so that's easy too. But my companies are Elevate Stellar Reality and Cassella Insurance Solutions, so I'm all over the place. I also have an entrepreneur page as well.
Random question, but wasn't Cassella the last name of one of the Little Rascals?
I think so.
Related?
Well, there's Max Cassella, who was on Doogie Howser.
Oh.
And he was also in Newsies.
Yeah. What the heck? Vinny.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Vinny! You should get him on. Right. Should find that guy. I think he was in a couple mob, but he might have been on The Sopranos for a minute too.
Yeah, I think he might have been for a second.
I know I seen him in a movie where he was like a thug and he got beat up or killed. I forget, but I was like, oh, that's Vinny.
Yeah.
I knew the name was familiar.
Yeah.
All right, well, cool. So if you want to find me, The Dad Next Door, Trash Smitter, look up one of those, you'll find me. Look for Roscoe the DJ or me in some kind of cartoon version, guy with a green care, whatever. This ain't about me. This is about you guys. So with that, I am going to end the podcast. And if Jacquie wants, she can sing us out.
No, not today.
All right. So
another podcast.
So my influence was weak today. I couldn't get her to sing like I did last time, but that's okay because she might have blew out the mic and messed up our equipment anyway. So
let's
let's
not do that today.
I'm all right with that. So thank you very much for joining me today. You're welcome. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Well, that concludes this episode of Trash or Cash. Make sure you follow on all socials at Trashmitter. That's TrashMitter. And keep up with all episodes at trashorcashpodcast.com.